So NFL changes hiring rules, and I will go more in depth on this during my final victory formation. So the NFL was thinking that it would reward NFL teams of draft picks if they hired minority coaches. They're trying to find ways to adjust the Rooney Rule. So they were able to adjust the Rooney Rule. So right here from an ESPN article, under the new rule, teams will be required to interview at least two external minority candidates for head coaching jobs. Under the previous version of the rule, teams were required to interview only one minority candidate. Now, I'm going to stop right there. So, this is where, so during the current, like the previous Rooney Rule, where you're only supposed to, you're required to interview one minority candidate. A lot of the teams try to game the system. So for the Eagles, when they hired Doug Peterson, Deuce Staley was already on the staff. He was already the running back coach. They hired him with no intention of giving him the job. And then they satisfied the Rooney Rule, which is ridiculous because again, he's with their team. He's a running back coach. He's a great running back coach. Eventually, hopefully, he'll be able to get an opportunity to be an offensive coordinator and then potentially be a head coach. But they interviewed him to satisfy the Rooney Rule with no intention of actually hiring him. The only reason why they interviewed him was to satisfy the Rooney Rule. One of the negatives with doing this is that when you require teams to interview one coach, so like Deuce Staley, he ends up being the token interview for a lot of these teams. Or in a hypothetical situation, let's say Deuce Staley is the token interview for a lot of these teams trying to fulfill the Rooney Rule. He doesn't get any of the jobs. Now the look is that, oh well, Deuce Staley always gets interviews, but he doesn't get the job. That means he's not, there's red flags there. He's not going to be a good coach. Like a lot of teams, interviewed him but didn't find anything interesting enough to hire him. So again, that could put certain minority candidates at a deficit. But I'm glad they moved it to at least two external minority candidates, so teams could look out to other places other than their own to kind of like fulfill the Rooney Rule. Now they could still game the system with this, but forcing them to take additional steps is definitely helpful. So also in the article it says, in addition to that, teams will be required to interview one external minority candidate for coordinator, general manager, and senior football operation positions. So this is good. Obviously, you want to see more minority candidates coming in that are qualified. Again, you don't want to just give minority candidates the position just because they're a minority. But if they're qualified and you feel that they would do a good job, they deserve that opportunity to make, to get an opportunity. They deserve a chance to get that opportunity. So that's also good. And then lastly, in this article, it says executive positions will also be subject to the Rooney Rule. Teams must interview a minority candidate or a woman for certain front office positions, according to the NFL's release. So now they're trying to, include women into getting into the NFL. Again, you have the San Francisco 49ers. They had, I believe it was like a receiver assistant coach that got a lot of publicity during her advertisement for the Windows Surface on TV. But you'll see a lot more women, especially referees, getting involved in the NFL, and that's good. I mean, again, you want to have that diverse candidate pool, diverse positions, diverse coaches. Again, that brings diverse thought, diverse game plans. You don't know what you'll get when you make your whole when you start having more diversity within the organization or in the league in general. So that was pretty cool. But also, what? let me clear my throat for this. What the hell is happening in the NFL with these players? 4 players arrested this past week. What the hell is going on? Somebody answer that. What the hell is going on? You have a quarantine and, we can't act right. So Man, this is upsetting. So let's get into the first one. This one was the bigger one of the bigger stories, and I'll get into all four of these guys. So two of them here. So Quinton Dunbar and DeAndre Baker end up turning themselves in. So let me give you the story. So Cameron Wolf of ESPN in his article stated that the alleged robbery occurred during an illegal dice gambling game at a Miramar house with 15 to 20 occupants in attendance, a source told ESPN. A commotion ensued after parties were accused of cheating with loaded dice, the source said. So also in there it said, according to the arrest warrant, Baker and Dunbar are accused of stealing money and watches with force while armed with semi-automatic firearms. It states that Baker intentionally threatened victims with a firearm. According to the arrest warrant affidavit, multiple witnesses said that that at one point during the incident, Baker ordered other suspects wearing a red mask to shoot an individual who was just entering the party. Before I even get into my take on this, so you want to throw a party, 15 to 20 people playing dice. And again, this is all alleged. I don't want to get sued. So this is all alleged. You know, I'm basing it based on what is being provided. An illegal dice gambling game with 15 to 20 occupants in attendance. That, in this atmosphere, again, so there's several things wrong. Number one, illegal dice gambling game. That's in the wrong. That is a fact. So, Baker and them were confirmed at this place. So that is a fact. That's the first thing that's wrong. Second thing is wrong. COVID-19, quarantine, I don't know where, Miramar, I think that's Florida, but 15 to 20 occupants in attendance, again, what the hell? That's strike number 2. And then you're armed, again, allegedly armed with semi-automatic firearms. Do I even need to go further? So Baker's lawyer's defense is that Baker was playing Madden when this occurred and that they are just trying to exploit him because he's famous and they want some of his money. I mean, the exploit part, I guess that makes sense, but you're playing Madden when everybody's playing illegal dice. Okay, whatever. Just a little background on Baker. So he was drafted number 30 from the 30th pick last year from Georgia. I thought he had a terrible rookie season for the New York Giants, who traded up back into the first round to draft him as I believe it was the first corner in the draft taken last year. But he was one of the worst cornerbacks in the NFL according to Pro Football Focus. But he did end the season positively. One of the weeks he was top 10 corner when it came to coverage according to Pro Football Focus. But again, not a great rookie season for DeAndre Baker. So he's already on thin ice. New York Giants fans know what I'm talking about. I've seen the Giants games, and quarterbacks are targeting him at all times. A first round cornerback that was just drafted, rookie. Obviously, he's going to have his growing pains, but it was to the point where he was, it just didn't look good at all. He didn't look good at all. It didn't look like there was any potential there. And then Quinton Dunbar, who was playing with Washington, was just traded to Seattle. So he's already on thin ice. They're talking about Seattle potentially cutting him, depending on how the facts come out in this case. So, again, I don't want to see anyone lose their job. Again, all of this stuff is alleged until, they're innocent until proven guilty. But if this stuff is true, then their NFL careers are hanging on by a string at that. Especially for guys that haven't really been all that great in the NFL to begin with. Someone else. Okay, so the third person that was arrested this past week Ed Oliver was arrested. So he was the number 9 pick by the Buffalo Bills this past season. According to ESPN, Buffalo Bills defensive lineman Ed Oliver was arrested Saturday night in his hometown of Houston on charges of driving while intoxicated and unlawfully carrying a weapon. The 22-year-old Oliver had an open beer between his legs and was determined to be impaired after a field sobriety test. So in the article, they also add the officer who administered the test noted that Oliver may have been impaired by something other than alcohol, and police discovered a pistol in Oliver's vehicle. No drugs were found. So again, the officer is saying that he could have been impaired by something else like drugs. There was no evidence of drugs in the car, so not to say that's not true. It's just highly unlikely, maybe. Again, as more facts come out, we'll be able to determine, what was going on here. But again, he ends up being arrested. He's a rookie. He was drafted number 9 overall, and he's supposed to be a key piece to the Buffalo Bills defensive lineman and playoff run this year. The Buffalo Bills are favored to win that division now that Tom Brady's gone from the Patriots, and now your rookie from last year, your top 10 pick, gets arrested, in Houston. I mean, this is, man, if you give guys a lot of time, they'll, and unfortunately, I don't know Ed Oliver personally. I'm sure he's a great guy, but I mean, obviously there was some bad decision making here. When you take away sports for some guys, you don't know what they're going to do. And again, I'm not saying Ed Oliver is this guy. I'm just saying that he made this is a bad decision. And if football was in, potentially he would have been, working out, in Buffalo or something like that. So again, just not a good look for Ed Oliver, who again had a promising rookie year, but this right here, Ed Oliver is already messing up his money for his second contract if he gets one. Say he ends up doing well to play out his rookie contract. Number one, now the Bills are thinking about, okay, in the next 3 years, we need to determine, do we want to pick up his 5th-year option? And then after that, do we want to make him one of the higher paid, defensive linemen in the NFL with character concerns like this? Again, I'm not saying Ed Oliver is like this. I'm saying this is a poor decision, and this reflects on his decision making. And then lastly, the 4th person that was arrested, unfortunately, Cody Latimer, arrested for allegedly threatening friend during a poker argument. So you have guys playing dice, allegedly, a legal dice game, and then you got Cody Latimer allegedly playing poker and getting into an argument. And the argument had to be in cheating or losing money, something like that. But anyways, Cody Latimer, just to give a little bit more information on him, drafted in 2014, the 56 overall picks on the second round by the Broncos. Currently is on his 3rd team. So again, he was drafted, 6 years ago, and he's already on his 3rd team. He only played 5 years in the league. Let me read out these numbers. So 70 receptions, 935 yards, 6 touchdowns. That is his career numbers, ladies and gentlemen. That is not good. That is not good. Some guys get that in a season. So you're telling me this guy who has 70 receptions, 953 yards, 6 touchdowns in 5 years with two different teams at the time, 2 different teams, because he's on his 3rd team right now, Washington, who he hasn't played for, is getting arrested. How is he going to keep his job? With numbers like that, he is he's replaceable, unfortunately. And I hate to say it like that. So Adam Schefter and John Keim from ESPN reported saying, according to the police report obtained by 9 News, Denver, Latimer, and other card player got into a heated argument during a poker game at the home of Roderick English, who told police that Latimer is his best friend. English said he separated the two in the argument and ordered everyone to leave his apartment. According to the police report, there were 7 or 8 people in the apartment, which I guess is a little bit lower, but getting into a fight over a card game, if somebody's cheating, man, like that's, man, that's just, Is it worth going to jail for? Is it worth threatening somebody with a gun? I don't have the rest of the report here with me, but allegedly English said that Cody Latimer left and came back with a gun, threatened to kill everyone there. I believe, if I'm incorrect with that one, I apologize, but I believe I remember reading that. So again, 4 players in the NFL arrested in 1 week, less than a few days apart from each other. It's very unfortunate. Hopefully these guys, this is a wake-up call for them. Decision making needs to be better, especially for these guys. They're all young players. They're still trying to make money for them and their family, to provide for their family if they have one, or at least provide for themselves. They need to make better decisions. This is taken away from their money. So when somebody's cheating in a dice game, how much are you putting on the table? Number one. Number two, is it worth the millions of dollars that you could potentially earn in another contract? Obviously, you don't want to hang out with these people again. You just got to put yourself in the right position. So hopefully they have mentors or people around them that are going to lead them in the right direction. And again, I don't like seeing this stuff. Again, I definitely don't like reporting on it, but I want to at least provide that information to you all. So hopefully, again, they take that as a learning lesson to move forward. So King of the Game, I haven't done this one in a couple episodes. So King of the Game, so this is where we give acknowledgement to, an athlete in wherever, globally, just on an accomplishment. So this week's King of the Game is Will Haskell, quarterback, class of 2021 in high school, going to Ironwood High School. He just committed to San Diego State. Now, he is King of the Game because he is one person that I've worked with for a while. I've known him since he was a freshman, and he's been doing pretty well at Ironwood. Again, he chose San Diego State over Iowa State, Duke, and several other schools. And he's a great athlete. I believe Ohio State offered him to be a safety, but he wants to play quarterback. So he decided San Diego State was best for him. The reason why he's King of the Game, again, I love seeing high school players, reach their academic and athletic goals by, committing to schools and getting free money to go to school. But I also shot his commitment video to San Diego State. So if you want to see that, make sure you guys search up on YouTube King of the Game. And then you'll see on one of those recent videos, Will Haskell is committing to San Diego State. And, drop a comment for him. Tell him, congratulations and stuff like that. It's always exciting to see these high schoolers do right, get their education right, and get a scholarship to go to the next level. So big shout out to Will Haskell. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button for more fire sports takes. And for those of you who are on the go, make sure you subscribe to our full show, which airs every Thursday on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and a bunch more. Until then, I'm chucking it up, and I'll see you guys next time.